Well, welcome, guys. Thank you. Welcome to, where are we again?
We are at Comic-Con.
I know, in Council Bluffs, Iowa, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Comic-Con. Before I came here, I was like, oh, I can't wait to take over Omaha. I was like, oh, it's in Iowa?
Well, it's a touchy subject, but it's
Is it really?
The
Is there-
metro.
is
The
there-
metro. Depends on who you ask. Don't say that.
No.
No.
Is there a rivalry between Iowa and, like, the battle between, like, the Omaha steaks versus, like, pork tenderloin sandwiches? Is there a rivalry?
You know how there's like a Minneapolis and St. Paul, and they call them the Twin Cities?
Sure.
Okay. They would never call this place the Twin Cities. People would probably
Right.
go to war.
Okay.
Well, it's you gotta think of it as Council Bluffs is less than like a third the size of Omaha.
Right.
It's
Is
like-
anyone here from Council Bluffs?
I think a lot of people are, yeah.
Hi, you guys ever been to a place called the O-Face Bar? Because I have.
The old space?
No, the O-Face, dude.
Oh,
You know,
oh.
like, remember American Pie? Like,
I do. Show her.
or, no, not American, Office Space. Like,
Yes,
yeah.
I do. Yes.
It was featured in a TV show called Bar Rescue, and apparently it was so bad that the guy who was usually the fixer, he just quit. He's like, you guys are beyond hope. I can't fix you guys.
I can't fix this broken thing.
Yeah, I went last night again. I was warned not to go there, which is why I went, and it was awesome.
That's probably a good like barometer to have. Like, go to the places they say don't go to.
I'm like, why are you telling me not to go there? You know I'm gonna go now, right?
Right.
Yeah. So anyways, Council Bluffs, man, great place.
The safe term is the metro area. I think.
metro
That's where
area?
people are all like, okay, it's cool, we'll give you that.
Okay. No, I had fun. I got here yesterday because I wanted to explore Omaha, and I went to Old Market, and I went record shopping, and I went to a place called the Imaginarium, which was super awesome.
Yes.
And I found an underground Japanese whiskey bar, and I went to Ted and Willie's. That was awesome. Like I feel the butter fat coursing through my veins.
Ice cream powers. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel good. And then I went to the Old Face. So it was quite a day. So thank you, Omaha Council Bluffs. You've given me a very warm welcome.
A lot of healthy food being consumed there.
I didn't eat healthy yesterday.
No.
I ate Rubens yesterday, man.
Ooh.
So I heard you guys invented them here.
That's the legend.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Legend, I did go to Legend Coffee and Comics too. But big shout out to them. They have a great store.
It's a fun place. You get a cup of coffee too while you're
I got they had a custom soda called the Wasp after Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ooh,
So
nice.
it didn't taste like Evangeline Lilly, but it was still good.
If that ever, yeah, I'm not going to go there.
No,
We're good.
don't. No,
Moving
there are
forward.
children in the audience. How dare you?
So part of my thought was I was hoping maybe you could share some podcast stories with us.
Podcast stories?
Do you have some fun podcast tales?
As in, you have a podcast. I know. Are there any podcasters in the house here?
How
we got a
about
couple.
podcast listeners, people who like to listen to shows? There
Okay.
we go. Good.
Wait. Tell them Steve Dave fans in the house.
There
All right,
we
we
are.
got some here. All right. Yeah. As you know, Kevin started podcasting in 2007, which was very, very early in the game. And I think he had heard about it from somebody who had started one earlier on. And he was like, wait a minute, I can go as long as I want? And they were like, yeah. He's like, I can say whatever I want? They're like, yeah. He was like, and like no one can tell me what I can and can't say?
No.
They're like, no. He's like, great, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
start podcasting.
Yeah.
And he's built it into an empire. He's one of the few guys who figured out how to make money out of it.
Right.
And
Yeah, we're still working on that.
A singular tear rolls down my cheek.
yeah, you don't really go into podcasting to make money, at least not initially. If you start blowing up, you can do like a Patreon like Tom Steve Dave did or something,
Yeah.
or you can sell ads, or like Kevin did. Kevin figured it out. He's like, I'll just go do live podcasts, and I'll get paid from the ticket admissions, and then I'll put it up and sell ads on the actual podcast. And this is why Kevin's a genius.
There you
That's why
go.
Kevin Smith is who Kevin Smith is. He's figured it all out.
That's awesome.
I don't know about I don't know if I have any riveting stories about, we were podcasting and like the building like caught on fire or something, and I saved Mike Zapsik's life. He was crying.
I like where you're going with that, though.
It never happened though.
There was
We should just say it did and end it there.
There was an I Sell Comics episode I remember where Walt.
You
and I
listen to
wanna-
I Sell Comics?
What's that?
You listen to I Sell Comics?
It was a while back.
Oh, thanks, man.
But it was. I'm your listener.
Yeah.
But I believe it was one where, and I as a podcaster kind of like totally empathized with what was happening.
Okay.
Walt had sat down.
Okay.
Mike had sat down.
Right.
And they were like, I don't want to record today. And he's like, me neither. And they just hit stop.
Oh yeah, that was a Tell 'em Steve Dave episode.
No,
Yeah, they
that's
were,
what it was,
They were
yeah.
5 minutes in. They're like, you feel like doing this? Or like, no. I was like, all right, screw it. And that was it.
That was the episode. That was
That was
like,
the episode. But you can do that. That's why you should podcast, because you can do that, and no one can tell you can or can't do that. You can literally quit 5 minutes in, and that's an episode.
I thought they could do that once every so often. If they did 2 of those in a row.
I think there'd be a riot. Yeah, I think there'd be a riot. But that's what makes those guys so lovable, I guess. Is,
It made me
you know,
laugh.
They're like, screw it. We don't want to do it today.
Ah,
Yeah, Walt's funny. He gets pretty moody sometimes. So
I can imagine.
yeah.
So I guess one of my questions about podcasting
Yes.
for you is that, which came first for you, the television show or being
No, it was
involved in
podcasting. Yeah, Kevin, like I said, he started in 2007, and then he got me and Mike into it in 2011. Brian and Walt started their podcast in 2009, and the show came about because Walking Dead got really hot in 2010. I
Yep.
think was the premiere on Halloween, 2010, and before they rolled into the second season of Walking Dead, I don't know why they thought their whole audience was based on geeks and
Yeah.
comic book fans.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't realize that their show was awesome and
Right.
that everybody was watching it.
Right.
But thank God they thought that way, because they wanted to keep the comic book audience. They wanted to give something they wanted to keep those comic book fans watching between seasons was the original idea.
Right.
That comic book men would be like the mid-season fill-in, between-season fill-in.
It's a good idea. I mean,
Well, it was at the time. Luckily, they put us on after Walking Dead, because that really helped us out.
yeah. Well,
Like following the hottest TV show on the planet.
it's a fun show though. Still. It's
Yeah, but I don't know if, it works better after Walking Dead. I
Well, yeah.
think.
It's like a nice finisher.
Yeah, well, it's nice getting their, being the lead out of when they have 15 million people
That's
watching.
true.
It's like, even if we get like 1 million of them, we're golden, and that's what happened. So
Awesome.
even at midnight, but they wanted some kind of comic book themed show, and they didn't know they didn't have an idea though.
Right.
So they went to Kevin, since he's the king geek, and they're like, what would you do? Like, they were like, do you want to help us out with this? He's like, no, not really, but you know what I would do? I would rip off that show Pawn Stars. And instead of all that garbage that they bring in on that show, like, I found a salt shaker from the 17th century. Like, I don't care about this. He's like, why don't you put it in a comic book store and be like, hey, I found this amazing fancy 15 in my attic. Like, what's it worth?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, that's a great idea.
And Walt cursed him from afar.
Well, even before that, they were like, that's a good idea, so, like, how do we do this? And Kevin was like, well, why don't you, like, cast 4 guys from around the country to come together and shoot it and, find a comic book store somewhere, maybe like Omaha or something.
Ooh.
And shoot it there. And they're like, that's a great idea, but before that, we need to shoot, like, a pilot to see if it would work. We
Right.
need to put something on film or whatever
Sure.
to see if it would work. And Kevin was like, well, you can use these guys. I have 4 guys who work in my shop.
Yeah.
You can, just as fill-ins. You can even tell them what to say, like whatever. Just, they'll work for free. You don't have to pay them.
He told them that before even asking.
Yeah, and so it turned out they're like, all right, we're gonna shoot a pilot. The budget's $10,000. And Kevin was like, is that a lot for a pilot? They're like, well, not really. And most of it is going to go to a location fee. Like if we shoot at a comic book shop, we have to pay them to use it. And he's like, well, I have a shop. Why don't you just use mine? And they were like, you had a shop this whole time and you didn't tell us? Because I guess they didn't know. They didn't know he had a shop,
Right.
and he never mentioned it. So,
Right.
so they got to use all that for free. And
Oh.
then when they put this pilot together, the network saw it and they're like, you idiot. These are the 4 guys. You had them right in front of you the whole time.
Yeah.
Why did you want to go cast 4 guys? And Kevin's like, I don't know. I didn't think they're not actors or anything. I'm like, we don't want actors.
Right.
We want 4 idiots who are going to yell at each other. And, this little Asian kid gets made fun of all the time. Yeah. This guy, like, he's grumpy, he hates everything. The other guy wants to lowball everybody.
Yeah.
And the other guy knows a lot about comic books. This is exactly what we want. So,
Right.
So they're like, yeah, we're going to make it.
The
And-
chemistry works so well because it does smack of like your local comic book store because those personalities are all there.
Yeah, more or less. In general, they have the grump, the lowballing, like comic book store
Right.
manager. the brain, and then the guy who gets made fun of all the time.
Well, and the guy, like the eager, well-meaning guy who gets made fun of. That's
right.
not fun.
That's me. Yeah.
That's me too.
Yeah.
We smell
I
our
know.
own.
Yeah. It sucks, right?
You get a thick skin.
You get a very thick skin. Yeah. But people ask, like, is that you're just doing that for the show, right? They don't really make fun of you like that
You can't fake that.
on the show, and I'm like, no, it's not like the show. It's worse in real life.
They're holding back.
Well, in real life, like they don't edit anything. 'Cause Brian says some of the most heinous things.
Oh, I can imagine. Unfiltered?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it's a family store.
yeah. It's, I don't know if you ever saw. We did an episode where we did stand-up comedy in the store, and Brian came up with a bunch of jokes that were unusable because they were too dirty. But one of them was like, "What's the difference between Superman and Ming's parents?" And the answer is Ming's parents are grateful to have a yellow sun. Or no, Superman's grateful to have a yellow sun.
Oh.
And they're like, all right, well, I guess AMC didn't want like the Anti-Asian Defamation League on there.
No,
So
that would have
I
happened.
thought that was funny though. I thought
I
that was
mean-
pretty clever actually. And that's why I take most of it, because most of his stuff is actually pretty good, even though they're at my expense. Like I can take it. If it's good, it's easier to swallow.
You get the coolest character award in my mind.
I don't know how cool is, but most tolerant maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
like the guy just doesn't care. Yeah.
You're a very forgiving man.
I'm very forgiving. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, and then when they said they were gonna make the show, I'm like, who's gonna watch four idiots sitting around like crying about force projection,
Right.
and gigawatts, and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But slowly I realized that in like every dead end job, like in McDonald's or a car wash or whatever, like the people who work there are having these same conversations because they don't want to be working.
Right.
They want to be having these dumb conversations. So I
Right.
guess they related to us.
Those things will work their way in, as people
Yeah.
do a task or
Yeah,
whatever.
and I love that. And that means, when I come to a con, I can have those same conversations with you guys
Yeah.
about, why force projection is either good or bad
This
or
is
whatever.
summer camp for us, man. This is amazing.
Yeah, but going to a con, like I go like almost every weekend now. It's like summer camp every weekend.
Every
it's great.
weekend.
I love it.
It's Christmas every weekend.
I love it. But I love seeing that fandom is strong here in Omaha.
Oh.
It's or Council Bluffs more accurately.
Yeah.
But really, no matter where you go, it's awesome. People cosplay. People love pop culture. I love it. I think it's cool.
So as a fan,
Yes.
when you were brought in, when you started to work at Jay and Silent Bob,
Right,
Circus Test,
for Kevin,
you
yeah.
came in with preloaded fandom. You had the things that you liked already.
Sure, yeah.
you know? And so what was some of the things that you were introduced to by those guys that you were not aware of or that you wasn't even on your radar yet?
The like Walt's a huge Godzilla fan,
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of got into, like Mothra and King Ghidorah. Like I was never really a Godzilla fan growing up because like they were just chasing Asian people around, and I'm like, well, why do I want to watch this? Like he's terrorizing Asian people in Japan, so I never really got into
Right. You're like, no. not a fan.
Godzilla. Yeah, like the new hockey in particular, the New Jersey Devils. Walt's a big Devils fan, so it's hard to work there and not be a Devils fan because
Right.
he would hammer you.
You're
Yeah.
just saying you're a fan. That's
Yeah, things like that. Brian Johnson's probably the biggest fan of horror that I know, like the horror genre.
Yeah.
So through him, I learned a little bit more about the stuff that he was into. He likes a lot of the obscure stuff, but he's really knowledgeable about like The Shining, and he's a huge fan of Halloween or Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. And then Mike, we're on Mike. You really get into really get into comic books.
Yeah.
Because you can ask him anything, and he'll know it. He's like I call him the Rain Man of comic books.
You just start rattling off
Yeah,
numbers.
he's like time for Wapner. It's like ooh comics. He's pretty crazy. Like I bought him for Christmas this one year. It was a spatula with Iron Man's head on it, and I gave it to him. He's like, oh man, that's a Bob Layton drawn Spider-Man or Iron Man from like issue 178, page 23, like panel 4. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, hold on. He went and he got it. He's like, see?
Oh
I'm like,
my
dude, you're
God.
you're insane, dude.
That
That's
is
messed up. That's messed up, but it was cool though.
You should take an old comic, cut it into pieces, and throw it in the air and see
He
if you can,
he probably could ID all that.
That
so
is this.
yeah, but that's Mike Zapsik. So
Oh my gosh.
he's pretty knowledgeable.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of open this up for our people.
Yeah,
in the
yeah, if you
audience,
can ask
too.
anything,
anyone
if
had any
anybody has a-
questions,
if anybody has
throw
a
those
question.
hands straight up in the air, or we can kind of keep
Yeah,
answering.
sir, your question.
Comic book man is like, do they ask you guys to like kind of amplify your personality like a normal reality show would with some people, or
this is what I love about our production. No, that's all us. So, Brian's the ball buster. Well, Brian actually asked him to tone it back, but he won't. Like, he'll say stuff that he knows won't make the air, and then he'll look at the people running the camera and he'll wink. Yeah, because he'll say something so heinous that, he'll start talking about like dead babies or I don't know, like kicking cats or whatever,
Guaranteed.
knowing that he'll never make it, but he can't help himself. So it's actually the opposite. I get Walt would be the exception. Walt doesn't talk that much in real life. Walt would be the one. Like Kevin has a term. It's like, oh, that's fake Walt. But yeah, Walt is way more quiet in real life. I think somewhere when in the early days of shooting, Walt was watching that show Cake Boss, and he saw how animated that guy Buddy was, and he was like, well, if this show's gonna work, I have to be not that animated, but close. That guy in the Cake Boss was like,
Buddy.
yeah, he was like, we couldn't fit the cake into the truck. What are we gonna do? Yeah, now while Walt isn't that animated, like the Walt you see is like that, but it's that's as animated as Walt will ever get, and yeah, he doesn't really talk that much in real life, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it's still, yeah, if I think Kevin's like, they would give out Emmys for like reality TV, like Walt should win, because he
came from here.
I personally don't feel he's acting. He's just
Amplifying a little.
amplifying more. I kind of wish that was the real Walt sometimes, though, because sometimes I'll see him come in because he comes in an hour later than we do, and he either didn't sleep much or he's just grumpy about something, and we know we're like, oh, okay, let's not talk to him today. Yeah.
We want fake Walt.
Yeah. But yeah, I think me and Mike are, I mean, if you just come talk to me and say, all right, that's him. Yeah, the guy who gets like super excited about G.I. Joe and Thundercats. Yeah, that's me. But yeah, no, they didn't ask us to do anything. The second season, we had a different production team because of scheduling. And you may have heard some stories on some of the podcasts where they weren't like, they kind of wanted to do their own show, whereas the first season we kind of established everything and they kind of wanted to turn it around. So they were trying to tell Brian what to say, Brian Johnson, and you don't tell Brian what to do anything because he won't do it first and then he'll get mad about it. So they were trying to kind of skew, he would make great jokes and they were like, well, why don't you say this? And he's like, no, I'm not saying that. And they would get all mad at him. But yeah, I was just let us
They're
be
like
us.
tempting him to do more that way.
Yeah. So that second season, if you watch us, we all wear the same staff shirts just so they can cut. It's easier to cut, and that's why in the podcast scenes we all wear the same clothes. It's easier to cut. They cut it mainly pretty much out of order, so it's just easier in editing. But the only guy who doesn't wear the same shirt every episode is Brian, because he doesn't work at the stores. So he wasn't required to wear the staff shirt. But that season, they were like, hey, they pulled him aside. They're like, hey, just so it'd be easier for us to edit, could you wear the same shirt as well? He's like, every day for the whole season? It's like, why would I do that? Like, there are different days. I wouldn't wear the same shirt. They're like, could you just bring a shirt that you really like tomorrow, and we'll check it out, and that's the one you'll wear for the rest of the season. He was all right. So he went home. He took a white T-shirt. He cut it right here, and this is when he's lost a ton of weight, but he had a big belly, and then he wrote on it. He wrote the words "dick magnet" on it, and he drew a big penis on it, and he came in. He's like, all right, this is the shirt, and like that, yeah. So if you look online, if you Google Brian Johnson dick magnet, that picture will come up.
That is amazing. I don't want to Google that.
No, it's funny. It's actually pretty funny.
It'll mess up all my history and
yeah,
results.
you need to find that shirt.
I'll Google that for you, Eddie.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it was at that point they're like, you know what, you wear whatever you want. Yeah, that's how he gets things. That's how he gets things done.
That's amazing.
While he is an antagonist, he kind of takes that other.
Just cranks the Brian dial up.
He goes off road and then comes back around, and he kind of forces people's hands. So.
That's amazing.
Yeah, whereas I'm pretty agreeable. I'm like, all right, I'll wear. I guess
Okay.
that's what you want me to do. Well, I guess I'll do it, just because it's less of a pain in the butt.
Right.
He doesn't care.
Yeah.
So that's why we love him. So yeah, look up that shirt. I believe it's up for. They're running a contest where he's giving it away right now.
Oh,
If you want to enter, if you want
Ben, we can have it.
the Brian Johnson shirt.
We should get it for Anthony.
We have a hand up there, sir.
Oh yeah, sir, your question.
Yeah, is the Prussian kissing skull that Brian Quint brought into the shop?
Yes.
Is that still there? And have
It is still there, yeah. On Brian and Walt's podcast, Brian Quinn from the TV show Impractical Jokers, he was at a knickknack shop and he bought a skull, an ornate skull that was something called the Prussian kissing devil. And there's a whole story like if you gave it $5, it would like either curse you or grant you wishes or something. And it's on display in the store. And they fell in love with this thing where they mass produced like little 3D printed ones and they started selling it.
Oh my gosh.
And it came with like shredded money and all this. But yeah, I gave $5 to it. I guess I'm still alive, so I guess
There
it
you go.
worked out.
There you go. It's good luck.
Yeah, but he had asked if we display it over at the store and people can give $5 to it. I saw that the last time I was in there like 2 days ago, it was still there.
That's amazing.
Yes, part 2, sir.
Do people, when you're in the store, ever still try to sell the Baron?
Oh yeah, that Walt has an alter ego called Baron von Flanagan where he'll dress up and he'll spout out like facts about like fact like your colon weighs 800 pounds when you die or something stupid like that. I haven't seen
How do you summon him?
Well, you have to tell him that you're summoning the Baron, and he goes under the counter. He dresses up in this like cape, and then he pops back up.
Gotta recite the,
Yeah, there's an incantation. There's a whole incantation. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
These
gosh.
guys are. I think they might be on drugs or something. But
I want to be Brian's best friend now.
yeah. No. What you need to do is listen to the podcast. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. People. Yeah. It happens every so often. I haven't seen one in a while though.
That's amazing.
So, but I love it because like he'll just be drawing like real grumpy, and someone does something like that. He's like, hold on, like he launches into an alter ego. It's pretty funny.
Oh my goodness gracious.
This is the store, man. This is why you gotta come by.
Oh, I'm
Just
coming.
things like this happen, not on a daily basis, but almost.
With enough regularity.
Yeah.
We got Kylo Ren over here.
Yes, Mr. Wren.
This is a one-part question.
Okay.
You kind of got into it a little earlier.
Okay.
On how Walt likes Godzilla.
Yes.
So he's Godzilla for the opening.
Yes.
Did you choose Transformers or like what's the backstory on
So if you watch the animated beginning of Comic Book Men, it starts out with I think Walt is Godzilla, Mike is like Super Mike, like a Superman, Brian is like Thor, and I'm like a mech or a Transformer. And when people first saw that, they're like, "Oh man, that's so racist. Why you gotta be the Transformer like that?" I'm like, dude, I chose that. So
Right.
before the season started, they're like, "Hey, we're thinking about doing an animated intro. Can you give us like your top 3 choices if you were to be animated?" And I can't remember what the other 2 were, but one was like a half, because I like technology and I like computers and stuff. So I was like, if you can make me like into kind of like a Gundam or like a Transformer, that would be cool with a bunch of missiles and guns on it. And yeah, that's exactly what they did. I think Brian never answered the email, so they're like, well, we'll just put him to the closest pop culture.
He's got a big beard.
Approximation.
We'll make him a Viking and
Yeah. So I think they turned out pretty cool. And then,
my second question?
oh, okay, wow, shocking. Well, sir, you ask whatever you want. Just don't don't force choke me.
So then with Kevin being Galactus,
Yes.
was that his choice or
That's a good question.
he's supposed to be like the most powerful shit in all of it?
Right. I mean, at the time, Kevin's lost a ton of weight since then, his heart attack and everything. But at the time, he would make a lot of fat jokes at his own expense. Like, so Galactus, the Eater of Worlds. I imagine he may have had some input on that. Although, if you watch the animation, it's my missile that blows him up.
I was
so
gonna say it's your
saved
missile that finishes off all
I
the.
saved the world. So, yeah, I never asked him though. I think he's pretty not controlling, but he has a lot of input on everything, including.
How's he doing up with the heart attack, by the way?
He's doing great. I saw him not that long ago, and yeah, he's doing really great.
Tell him how well it were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has he been here? Does anybody know? Has he done a Q&A in
I don't
Omaha?
believe he's come here.
I swear he's never done a Q&A in
You
Omaha?
can put a good word in for us here.
Like I know there's an Orpheum Theater. He's never been. Okay, I will
I
for
don't
sure
believe
then.
so. I don't believe so.
He's definitely got to come
He'd have a
here.
good time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I
But
would
yeah,
definitely love to have him.
he's gone vegan. He's lost since the heart. I think he lost 50 pounds.
Oh,
He's
wow.
a spokesperson for Weight Watchers. So
Yeah.
he's
Man, that's cool.
I think he's been inspiring a lot of people to just become healthier. So that's a positive that you can take from the heart attack. That being said, man, that was scary seeing that on.
Oh yeah.
I learned like everybody else. He posted. He
Yeah.
took a selfie and put it on
The
Instagram.
hospital.
It was like 2 hours after he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
He put a selfie on Instagram. which I thought, I was like, oh my God, he almost died.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, he was like, he took a selfie.
He took a selfie.
He can't be that bad, right? If he took a selfie.
And he came out of it with such a healthy attitude. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I thought was really inspiring too.
I like that, he wrote the whole story under
Yeah.
his Instagram post. I like that he broke his own story. Because I remember like TMZ was like, Kevin Smith has a heart attack. But the only thing they could say was, read about it here, and there was
Yeah.
a link to his Instagram
his
post.
words.
So they couldn't make anything out, they couldn't sensationalize it.
Yeah.
Because it was already written out. So I thought that was cool.
Once again, a genius move.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and now he's doing game shows.
yes.
I listened to, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast
Yeah.
recently, and that was a great, if you guys hadn't listened to that one yet, he's a guest on there, and they really get into some really kind of deep stuff.
They
It
did.
was
Didn't they
really
both
cool.
start crying? Like,
They
were
got a
they talking
little
about dogs or
emotional.
turtles or something?
Dogs
They
and
started
pets.
It
crying.
was dogs, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really sweet podcast. It was just neat seeing kind of layers get peeled back a
Yeah.
little. It was nice.
I like seeing like like Fraser Ali. This is like two powerhouses sitting
Yeah.
down behind microphones
Exactly.
and talking. I thought it was pretty cool.
That was amazing.
So you created the fan site for
Yes.
the Skewiverse.
Yes.
How did that story come about? Like, how did Kevin reach out to
Oh, it was actually it was a fan site for Clerks when I first saw it in 1995. I'd been learning to build websites at the time, and like I don't know if you've ever seen something and became such a fan of it, and you didn't know how to channel that fandom. I didn't know how to channel the fandom because no one would watch Clerks with me because it was in black and white was the main reason. They thought it was some art film. I'm like, oh, there's no art in this film. There's no art. I'm like, no, I'm trying to explain it to him. It was like, noinch, or Snoogans,
Dude, I love
like 37. I was trying to explain it to people, and they didn't get it.
It's so funny.
And so I was trying to find other fans. There was no Comic-Con. There was nowhere. Yeah, Berserker.
Come on, man.
So I built a fan website so I could, and I had an email address on the bottom. It was like, hey, if you've seen Clerks, email me. I want to, not hang out, but I want to, I just want to.
Talk about the movie.
Yeah, I just want to geek out on the movie, and people emailed me back, so including him. So, so that worked out.
Nice.
That worked out. Yeah, but it was on that site though. If you remember the early days in the internet, if you created a fan site, you would grab some photos. You would put some sound. You could put audio clips on there, and I found a way to put movie files on there. And so I had the stuff that was already out already. But I was like, man, I want to make this the ultimate site. So at the time, there were these things called laser discs, if you remember, any of you old people.
Big CDs.
Yeah, they were like gigantic. They were the size of records, and they were the precursor to DVDs. And there was a Clerks one that had all the like cut scenes and the lost ending where Dante gets shot, and all this stuff. And so I went to Tower Records one day. I plopped down their $40 at the time, which was a fortune, but I bought the Laserdisc, and I went back and I ripped off all the cutscenes from the Laserdisc and put them all up online.
Oh, wow.
So when Kevin first called me, I was like, are you suing me? Like, because, I was like, should I melt my computer? Should I blow up my computer now so there's no evidence?
Bleach on the hard drive.
Yeah, just hit that button and it blows up your hard drive.
But he was like, no, good job.
No, yeah. Instead, he was like, "Hey, man, I like what you did." He was basically like, if you hadn't put these up online, like no one would have seen them because Laserdiscs were for rich people, and unless you're a real videophile, you didn't go. And even if you did buy Laserdiscs, you would buy movies like Gone with the Wind or Do the Right Thing. No one would buy Clerks.
West Side Story.
Except for people like me, if you were a real big fan. So,
Yeah.
to his credit, he didn't send me any lawyers after me. He told me to keep going. So, and I did, and it worked out.
That's pretty forward thinking too. Seeing it as actual,
I guess, but it was just, all I was doing, I was just channeling fandom
Right.
into whatever was, into a medium that I was working on at the time. So whether it's, crocheting TARDISes like some people are doing here, or, doing action figure dioramas, or, creating steampunk clocks or whatever. Yeah, I just did what anybody else would do.
You set this up perfectly. There was an episode of Comic Book Men where someone had started talking about He-Man.
Yeah.
And you were on our show. We have a He-Man
Yes.
podcast. But you were the lone voice in that group.
Yeah.
Because Walt and everybody, they were a little bit older, so when
Yeah.
He-Man came out, they were already like,
Right.
10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
They were like, and you were the one voice that, for me, was like, yes. You were like, no, man, He-Man's cool.
Yeah,
You were
yeah,
listening up
80s,
on-
80s, yeah, 80, anything in the 80s. Well, They're about 7 years older than I am, so they all the late '70s toys they were really into, like the Evel Knievel stunt cycle,
Yep.
Migos,
Yep.
Planet of the Apes stuff was
Yeah,
a
$6
big one.
Million Man.
$6 Million Man,
Yep.
and I was born later than that, so all my stuff is GI Joe, Transformers, He-Man,
Yeah.
Thundercats, yeah, stuff like that, Super Friends,
Yeah.
and so anything I like, they hate. They automatically hate it. Anything that they don't, yeah, they 80s toys, they all come down on me for.
That's so weird.
Yeah, yeah, Mask, all that stuff. They come down on me. I'm like, you guys are idiots.
Oh, I don't get it. To hear you be the lone boy, I was like, yes, Ming, you tell them,
Yeah.
you tell them.
Yeah, I mean, I respect their
Punchback.
stuff. Like they will not extend me the same
That is so funny.
respect.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I love the Evel Knievel toys. I love all the
Sure,
older
yeah,
stuff,
Migos
too.
are cool.
Yeah,
They came
are.
with cloth outfits and stuff. But everything I like, they're like, GI Joe, that's stupid. Like, you're stupid.
That's so stupid. You're stupid.
Yeah, so they couldn't understand why I wanted a 7-foot aircraft carrier. I'm like, you guys are, what are you talking about?
The flag?
The USS flag,
You
yeah.
have to have the flag.
You have to have the flag.
If you can get away with it.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Do you have any other questions?
I-
Oh, hey.
Ask away.
First one, who does this theme song for I Sell Comics?
It's a band called Courage My Love. They're a Canadian power trio. It's two sisters and a male. They're a male drummer, and Walt. I don't know who challenged him. He woke up, or he was up late one night, and he was like, I wonder if I could write a song just out of the blue, and he wrote a song called I Sell Comics, and the lyrics they're great, and they held a contest to see if anyone could put it to music, and this Canadian power trio, they sound a lot like Paramore, that band Paramore, and they knocked it out of the park. They went in the studio for a whole weekend. Like, they didn't have to, they didn't get paid or anything, and they recorded this amazing song called I Sell Comics, which we used as a theme song for our podcast. But Walt got mad. He's like, you stole my song for the name of your podcast? I'm like, Kevin told me to do it, which is my excuse for anything. Yeah, like,
I remember in an episode or a couple of episodes in I Sell Comics, you guys had a studio and nobody knew who owned it or whatever. And
oh yeah, so off the podcasting thing, me and Mike opened up a podcast studio. We did beginning of the year. It's called A Shared Universe Podcast Studio. A Shared Universe, like sharing universes in the comic book universe, where we teach people how to podcast, and we podcasters can rent it out by the hour to record in. But the first place we rented, we were paying rent to this dude who said he owned the building, and it turned out he didn't. It turned out this dude sold the building like a year earlier, and the people who bought it lived in Florida, so they had no idea, and the guy kept renting it out as if he still owned it. And then one day we get this letter saying, you have to vacate, we're knocking the building down. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We signed a year, we were supposed to be here for a year. And we found out that he was a weird dude. Like, we'd be recording, he would just walk in. And I'm like, dude, we're working here, you can't just walk in. He's like, yeah, he's a weird dude. But we found out, yeah, he was fronting like he owned the building still. Wow. And he was still like, gentlemen, your rent's late. I'm like, no, it's not. It's like, you don't own the building anymore. What are you talking about, you wacky old man? So yeah, it's a hole in the ground now. So they knocked the building down.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so, if you ever rent, we thought it was on the up and up. He gave us a lease that looked real, and we signed it, so.
Who thinks to make sure the guy owns the building?
You should probably, yeah, that's, for all your kids out there, anyone wanting to rent office space or an apartment, you make sure that they actually own the building first.
Do a quick property search.
Yeah, so, caveat emptor, I guess, or.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So it's,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the story, yeah. Yeah, just be careful. Real estate's, it's a weird thing.
so through that studio that you have you
Yeah.
met local shows that kind of?
Oh, yeah. A lot of them we've launched, so it's pretty cool. But they bring in guests, and we meet the coolest people. So, but yeah, my whole goal, kind of like the Clerk's website, I wanted to meet other podcasters, and I mean, you can't put. I don't know. Do you put an ad on Craigslist? I want to meet other podcasters.
I think there's a movie about that.
Yeah, that just sounds
And
weird.
then they go missing.
Just sounds weird. So yeah, we've actually met a lot of local shows, and we want to foster the podcasting community at our space. So we want to do meetups and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah.
It's good to see that kind of unity within podcasting too.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're all kind of starting on the same page,
Right.
and we're kind of at the point where we're trying to educate everybody else on what a podcast is. So, yeah, so it's easier to work together than against each other, I guess, so,
I agree.
yeah.
How close is that place in proximity to the staff?
It's like 10 minutes away. It's
That's
not,
not
it's
so
not
bad.
that far. So we're trying to tell people, if you come visit, then come on over and podcast with me and Mike too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because why not?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. So yeah, if you guys haven't been over, I guess over here, there's a podcast area right over here. I think there are like 8 podcasters.
There are 8 podcasts
That's amazing.
total. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep. All kind of contributing and working together.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's really awesome.
It's a fun time. Do we have any other questions?
Anyone else? Yes.
Don't be shy.
Oh my God, the Funko Pop. Oh my God, I was so happy. So that, I had visited Funko before they had that big store. I was there a year ago. I was at a con in Seattle, and my friend was like, "Hey, do you want a tour of Funko? Like, I know somebody over there." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." I love pop figures. I don't have a huge collection. I have maybe 100 of them right now, which that's a lot.
pretty big.
So I went over there with them, and I met. They gave me the tour, a behind the scenes tour, and I met some of the marketing people. But at one point on the tour, they had this big whiteboard, and it said, recommendations for future pop figures. And the employees were able to go down and write different properties that had not been made into figures yet. And I wanted to pick up a marker and write Comic Book Men, but I didn't want to get kicked out because it was early in the tour. But I mentioned it. I was like, hey, like, what are the chances of, us, we're on TV. We at that time, I think we had 5 or 6 seasons. And I was like, how do we make this happen? They're like, oh, you can suggest it. And, they're actually pretty receptive to suggestions. And so I think I had mentioned to Kevin, he was about to have a meeting with them. I was like, hey, I just met them. You could just drop that. Like, maybe it'd be cool if that happened. And I guess he mentioned something, and they thought about it. And, the show was, the 7th season was about to shoot. And I think somebody convinced them that maybe we could work together and make it into an episode. And lo and behold, yeah, they did. They made us into real pop figures, which is cool. It's like, it would be back in the day if they made me into a G.I. Joe. It's one of my favorite toy lines. And right now, arguably, not even arguably, like the biggest toy line out right now.
Yeah.
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 So that's, that was pretty cool. Yeah, they if you see the figure, they got, like, the hair is really good. So that made me happy. So they got the hair right.
Yeah, you held it up in your video.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, the only problem is they only made 1,000 of them.
Oh.
And they're pretty hard to get. And, like, I don't even have one for my mom right now, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would send her one, she'd be like, I think, she's not into Funko. Like, maybe she would put it somewhere, but I want to get more so everybody who wants one can get one.
That's amazing, though.
You're
holding a toy of you.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, even more, like, any toy collectors out here know it's about the packaging, too, though. And there's, like, official packaging, and my name is on there. And, it's like the plastic, and it's, you want to keep yourself in mint condition. Like, I never thought I'd be saying that. Yeah, but you do, so.
You care more about the toy's mint condition than your own body.
Right, yeah, I know, yeah. You can let go, but yeah,
Skin
don't,
heals.
don't dent the Funko box, though.
Don't mess this up.
Yeah, but it was pretty amazing. And I think they got everyone pretty close to with their Mike's got the goatee, Brian's got the long beard. And it's cool, Brian's got the logo, Brian and Walt have the logos for their podcast.
Oh,
They're
wow.
wearing them. I thought that was really awesome.
They can make a variant Brian that has the dick magnet.
That's probably not happening.
Probably not.
That would probably have to be a custom.
Probably
I
not.
imagine.
Yeah, custom. It's a
Yeah,
custom
I'm
thing
sure
right
someone's working on that right now. Yeah, but it's pretty cool. I think the thing that really got to me was like, well, somewhere in some comic book store, possibly in Omaha, Nebraska, my figure could be next to Darth Vader. I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's pretty cool.
Oh, next to a He-Man.
Or
Barely
He-Man,
touch it,
yeah.
Just barely touch it.
Yeah, I mean, Darth Vader's a little cooler, but
Oh, yeah, that's true. I guess.
sorry. It was pretty awesome. Do you have a question?
Oh,
Yeah.
Big G.I. Joe fan too, so what was your favorite figures growing up?
My favorite figure, so my brother collected, he went strictly G.I. Joe, the good side, so I had to go Cobra.
Oh,
Gotta go Cobra, and the villains are always more interesting. So I tried to collect as many Cobra figures as I could. There was a character, he was the Cobra Saboteur, his name was Firefly. He wore this, it looked like a ninja outfit, but in gray camouflage, which now in hindsight is kind of ridiculous. Like, what are you camouflaging for yourself? Like New York City? And he came with this backpack with this little removable thing at the end. He came with a really cool gun. And they came with this little tiny cell phone. It was like this big. And that's the thing everybody lost immediately. Like a dog would eat it, or you just drop it between the couch cushions. And as such, that little cell phone is like worth like $50 alone. I don't know why. I really love that guy though. And yeah, and the vehicles, yeah, the USS Flag, man, the 7-foot aircraft carrier toy. No, I wasn't either. It was too expensive. Yeah. But it's ironic because I ended up buying it 30 years later for like 5 times what it would have cost had I bought it originally. And then if you want one, I saw one. It wasn't sealed, but it had the box. It was in the box, complete. And some dude he wanted like $2,000 for it. $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was tempted to. I was like, I can't spend $2,000 on it. As much as I love GI Joe, like everyone has their limits. So.
I mean, once you died, you could use it as they could float you
Right,
out to sea.
I know, yeah, that's where they have Viking funeral, yeah,
On the flag.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Any other questions? Oh,
Did you have a question, or were you yawning? Oh, okay, no problem.
so what's on the horizon for? Oh, we have the.
Yeah, go ahead.
How's business at Coral Sword? And
It's good. So I met a bunch of dudes in Houston who wanted to open up a coffee and gaming and comics cafe, and it turned out one of the guys who wanted to partner in it was Hunter Pence, the baseball player,
wow.
left fielder for the San Francisco Giants, who turned out to be a big geek. He loves Magic: The Gathering, and he's probably not only the best but the most competitive Mario Kart player I've ever played against. He's like, I didn't realize this, but if you're a professional athlete, you're also a competitive gamer, like automatically. And all those dudes do on road trips, like on the plane or in the clubhouse, is play video games. You know, just when you get paid millions of dollars,
Yeah.
you can you have that freedom. So he's really good. He's really good at trash talking. And I'm like, dude, I don't play every day like you do. He's like, I don't care, play better. Like he's that guy. He's that friend who'd be like, will you please practice this when I'm not here? Like he'll taunt you. I'm like. I was like, I have like kids and like, I have to take care of my family. Like I can't, yeah. But so I partnered with him and a bunch of people, and we opened up this coffee and gaming cafe in Houston.
Oh my
and
gosh.
called Coral Sword. Coral Sword is in reference to a weapon in the Final Fantasy video game series. Yeah, it's been going pretty well. We just got our beer and wine license, so we can sell booze there. And so there's video game, but it's focused a lot on board gaming too. So you can, what's Cards Against Humanity without
Without some
alcohol?
liquor, yeah.
Right. Or you can go deeper like Catan or King of Tokyo or, Splendor. Gaming, it's 100 times more better with booze.
Oh, it's fun.
But I like it because people actually physically get together and play games
Oh.
there.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have really good food there, and the coffee's amazing. I love coffee. So, but we do like Friday Night Magic tournaments there, and there's a Twitch streaming and podcast booth in the back. Yeah, we basically built like our Barbie dream house, but in the form of like a cafe. So
That's
it's going
amazing.
pretty well. Yeah, if you ever get down to Houston, which is not close to here, but you guys are closer than I am, though. I
Yeah,
think.
we are. I mean, we're
Yeah.
kind of right in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
The Coral Sword.
Coral Sword, yeah,
Wow.
check it out.
Awesome.
I have free stickers on my table if you want them this weekend. I
Nice.
have a whole bunch of them, so grab 2 or 3 if you want.
That's amazing. Did you have follow-up?
Yeah, did you have a two-parter?
You were going
a
into-
secret?
I was just gonna say, what was it like the first time you met Hunter Pence? But I guess he kind of did that.
Oh yeah, he trash talked me into and not like I'm not used to that though.
I was gonna
But
say.
this was on a different front though, and I was like, I thought you were such a nice guy. I saw you on Full House, and yeah,
It's like getting arm punches and then a full uppercut by somebody else.
right.
I
And he's
wasn't-
like 6'4".
I wasn't
He's
ready.
a professional athlete. I'm like, why can't you be nicer to me? But
Be
no,
better.
He's a
That's-
cool dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he did. He's by trash talking, he makes you a better Mario Kart player.
I'll show you.
Right.
That's amazing. So what, like, I guess you kind of answered my question. Like, what do you have kind of on the horizon right now? Like, what's coming up project-wise?
So we have the podcast studio, so we're really trying to make that into something that can be a real viable business, and it'd be cool to open one up in Omaha,
Yeah.
where
Hey,
anyone can
hey.
come down. It seems like everybody I talk to now is like, oh man, I want to start a podcast, but I don't know how. It's like, well, we'll show you. It's pretty easy, but we will help you. If you don't know how to upload files and edit sound and buy gear, which it's not that easy, I guess. So
There's definitely, hey, tomorrow's panel. We have a panel.
Oh, well, is it how to podcast?
It's a podcasting 101.
Oh, cool.
You
Okay,
should
yeah,
swing by.
definitely,
You
yeah,
should swing
definitely
by.
go for sure.
It's Lee, who's right there, and I, and
Right on.
another Amber.
That's cool. Yeah, and then yeah, I mean, I thought I was gonna try not to do as many cons, but it's not working. 'Cause-
Hey, you keep
yeah.
being invited.
Well, yeah, you get invited to a party, you don't say no. So
Right.
yeah, I'm going to San Diego next week for the first time in 15 years,
Oh,
which is
wow.
pretty cool. I think a lot of people are surprised I haven't been there in that long, but if you've looked into going to San Diego, like you really have to save and plan it out.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't just go and show up.
Yeah.
It's an ordeal. So
Are you going with anyone else from the show?
yeah, so my friend had been trying to apply for a booth at San Diego, and you know they don't just give them away. You get on a waiting list. So he's been trying for 5 years, and this year a booth came up. So he ended up buying it, but he's like, I have to work, I can't go. But he bought it so for future investment purposes, and like if he refused it, probably wouldn't come up again. So he was like, hey, are you going? Like, could you go and maybe Brian and Mike will go with you, and then you can make some money, and then maybe pay some of it back to me because a booth at San Diego is super expensive. And I was like, yeah, I think we could probably do that. So Brian's gonna come with me, which
Oh,
is
fun.
cool. It was weird. Mike flat out refused to go though. He's like, I don't like San Diego Comic Con. I'm like, have you been there? He's like, no. And I'm like, well, how do you know you don't like it? He's like, I don't like it. He went Brian for a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, when did you get so negative? But for some reason, he just doesn't want to go. I think it's something about the crowds, like, has kind of turned him off.
That would
But-
be my negative. It's too much people.
But I was like, dude, you're still comic book man. Mike Zapp's like, you'd be a freaking god there. But he doesn't care about being a god in San Diego, I guess.
That's a God move too. He doesn't care about being a.
I guess, yeah. So he doesn't want to go. But me and Brian, man, yeah, we're excited.
That'd be fun.
So I kind of went out. I didn't have any plans. I was gonna maybe hang out with some friends. But now I've been checking my email box lately. It's like it's all party invites.
Yeah.
And it's like good parties too. It's like come to Robert Kirkman's Skybound like kickoff dinner party.
Yeah.
Like free booze. I'm like, whoa, all right. Like I'll go to this. Yeah, and stuff like that. Like Funko throws this huge Fun Days party
Oh,
that's
wow.
supposedly absolutely insane and like very unique. So I'm hoping to get into that. Just stuff like that. But I just want to hang out with fans, man.
That is so fun. You gotta
Yeah.
quit being so fun. That's the
I
problem.
can't. You can't run from who you are, dude. Yeah, you can't. You can't stop that.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I know for anyone wondering about the show, I hear Kevin's in talks, secret talks with maybe other networks or streaming services, and he's a pretty convincing guy. So hopefully something comes out of that.
I'd be surprised if they didn't get picked
Yeah,
up.
I would like to go at least one more season.
Yeah.
Like another like 10, 13 episodes would be fun.
That'd be fun.
But more than that would be even more fun.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
Let
we
you
really
guys-
like doing it, man.
Oh,
we
you
really
can
you can tell we like doing it.
Yeah.
And it's the only job where Brian Johnson gets paid to make fun of me. Like he's the genius.
Do what you love, I guess.
He may seem like an idiot, but he's a genius for sure. The strangest thing we've ever had, besides like Billy D. Williams. No, he wasn't.
Oh.
He wasn't that strange. He was actually pretty cool.
Awesome.
I mean, usually the strangest things are like in the past. Every so often you'll see like a toy that hits the market, and it'll be on the market for like a week or two, and then some parent will notice that there's something highly inappropriate about it.
Oh.
There's a toy when that movie Tarzan came out, when Disney made that Tarzan movie. They made this toy called the Rad Repeat in Tarzan, and you would hit this little thing on the back of his back, and his arm would go up and down like this, like vigorously, and he would do the Tarzan call, and that hit the market, and sure enough, some parent bought it and got pissed off because it looked obscene, and it was, and they pulled it from the market. So that toy is like it's not worth a ton. It's like $50. It's a $10 toy, but still, it's worth
Right.
it because they pulled it off the shelves early. But in my mind, it was like, wait a minute. Like I know how these. I saw the movie Big. I know they have these meetings,
Oh yeah.
and like no one said anything. No one saw this. Like it goes through 100 steps
Yes.
before it hits Toys R Us, or not Toys R Us anymore, sadly, but wherever. And nobody saw this and said like, well, we can't put this out.
Well, there's one person who's like, let's see how far this goes.
Well, it didn't go that far because
Apparently,
some parent complained. There was also a Punisher toy. It was a figure that transformed into, I think it was a gun or a rocket launcher, but somewhere between step 3 and 4, like the rocket launcher part came out here, and then you could hit the button and the rocket would like
Oh.
shoot out. And again, like nobody saw this, but it's kind of it was pretty funny. So I think I have that one somewhere.
Yeah.
Just because it's funny.
Put that on Twitter, please.
It's funny. I'm still 5 years old somewhere in here. So
Oh my
because that come on, that's funny, dude.
That's a great toy.
Yeah.
No, that's hilarious.
I wouldn't go that far saying it's a great toy, but it's definitely
It's a
funny
great thing
though.
that it happened.
It's definitely funny, but those are pretty weird things.
There was like Transformers, if you think back, that had like weird gun placement back in the day too.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
don't
and
know
then
how
I
that
think there's it never came, but I'd always wanted to see it come in. There's a trade paperback for a title called Squadron Supreme, and the dude who wrote it ended up dying of cancer, unfortunately. But in his will, he was like, put my ashes into the ink and then publish it into that issue. So I think they did. And I'm like, well, Kiss only put blood in their comics. They're a bunch of wusses,
That's
man.
ashes.
This dude put his like
Body.
ashes in there, yeah, yeah, which is pretty strange.
And that made its way into the stash.
I mean, it never did. I'm sure we had a copy somewhere, but I
Whoa.
thought that was a cool story.
That is awesome.
But I think, I think it may have been too morbid.
I
for
know.
them,
It's
so.
printed with dead body.
Yeah, with somebody's ashes, man. It's metal.
I think it's a Pokemon over there.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Yeah, of all the people that have come through the shop,
Yeah.
Billy D. Williams, Dean King,
Yes.
who has been the most exciting for you?
I mean, besides Stan Lee, you got to take Stan Lee out of the equation because that's
Yeah.
that one was pretty exciting. I'm a huge Karate Kid fan, so when Ralph Macchio came in, and like not only did he come in, but he taught me how to properly wax on, wax off, like, and I thought that was pretty cool. I think like Karate Kid is something that we probably quote on a weekly basis. And did anybody see Cobra Kai on YouTube?
Oh,
Red?
yes.
Amazing. If you haven't seen it, like it's totally worth the $10 a
Yes.
month. I don't know why. Well, it came out in that magical year, 1984, like the best year for movies ever.
Yes.
And at the time, like I never got bullied as much as Daniel did, but I would get barbs here and there. And I guess even now, I like even Brian Johnson is kind of like that. So it was kind of cool to see, this skinny kid from Newark, New Jersey, like beat up a bunch of, win a karate tournament in California.
Bunch of Valley Boys.
But because he listened to an old Asian dude.
Yeah.
That's why he won. Yeah,
Exactly.
listen to the old Asian guys or the young Asian
There's
guys.
anything to learn from
Is
that.
there anything to learn from life? Like find an old Asian guy and call
Follow
your
his
wisdom.
advice
Yeah,
completely.
no matter how weird it sounds. He's making you wash cars. He's making you paint fences. It doesn't matter. You're gonna win.
He has deadly cranes swinging at
Yeah.
you. Karate Kid too. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And then I've met the other two icons, William Zabka, who plays Johnny, same icon, and Martin Kove, who plays Sensei Kreese. I've met both of those thanks to the beautiful world of conventions. And it was just a huge part of my childhood. And I think Ralph Macchio that was a cool day. We've had so many people, though. It was really hard to pick one. Adam West was cool, Billy D., Peter Mayhew, like anyone from the Star Wars universe. You go back and like, if you were 4 years old and someone was like, yeah, you're gonna be on a TV show with Chewbacca one day. I'm like, get out of here.
No.
Like what?
Yeah.
What kind of weed are you smoking? Because that will never happen. But
Yeah.
you just never know. You never know. So
Keep putting it out there and keep dreaming.
yeah, for sure,
Keep trying.
for sure. But yeah, I mean, if I were to like a real answer would be Stan Lee for sure. He was pretty awesome, and he came in twice too, which was cool.
It's got to be one of those like your face is numb. Like, is this even happening kind of
It
thing?
was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Just like punch me in the face.
Yeah, just please,
Yeah.
someone.
Like Brian, punch me in the face.
Oh man. Do we have any more questions?
Anyone else?
We're nearing the end of our time a little bit
Oh,
here,
already?
so I want to make sure I know,
Oh, man.
right?
Thanks for
Time-
sticking around. I know it's the end of the day.
Time flies when you're having fun. Be sure to come back. We have another panel with Mr. Ming Chen later this weekend.
Do we?
I think so.
I didn't see that in the schedule. Do we have one? I'll do it. I'll do it. I don't remember. I didn't see
No, I
anything.
don't think we
though.
do.
Okay.
I
All
lied.
right. Well, I'll be at the
I'm a liar.
I'll be at the booth all weekend. Like literally, if you want to come and talk about Karate Kid for an hour, like I will. I'll talk about Karate Kid for an hour.
I'm
'cause-
going to come talk to you with credit.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, Comic-Con 2018. You guys are awesome. Council Bluffs, Omaha. Love you guys. Thank you guys so much.